Back in 2014 to 2016, Kris really did have to work to prevent some photos from leaking. The unexpected part was that they were her own private images because someone had hacked her iCloud. Christina, aka the woman that hacked the iCloud, was indicted by a grand jury in 2016. Not only did she hack the cloud, she also sent some pretty messed up texts to Kris and co, assistant, then husband, and other family members. She also, I guess, sent texts pretending to be Kris to Kris's kids and partner. She claimed that she put tracking devices on their cars and would message people that Kris had serious diseases, but it goes even further. The hacker also impersonated the famous matriarch over the phone, allegedly even occasionally calling the authorities with fake emergencies or swatting the family. Swatting referring to calling in fake emergencies that are serious enough to have someone's home checked out by SWAT teams. Just overall being an absolute headache and causing a lot of heartache. Then, of course, there were the accusations regarding social media, because if the hacker got into the iCloud, it really would only be a matter of time before social media sites like Instagram would be compromised. Allegedly, the hacker posted demeaning things about Kris's family as Kris, even going so far as to post phone numbers. And for a family as famous as this, that really is a big problem. Plus, no one wants their mom roasting them on the internet. It was also revealed that the stalker somehow got access to Kourtney's AOL account, so that means she didn't just get the username and password, but answers to the security questions too. The hacker did allegedly get access to the famous sister's emails. It actually ended up happening again with someone else in the family, however, the persecutors were reluctant to share their name. Per E! The stalker was indicted for 6 counts of stalking, 4 counts of computer hacking, 1 count of extortion by threat, and 4 counts of aggravated identity theft related to the computer hacking offenses. Just like a laundry list of bad things. This isn't even the first time that Kris Jenner has been hacked, and I almost wonder if Christina was helped by a previous incident. Back in 2013, Kris Jenner and Kim Kardashian's contact information was leaked by hackers and posted to a website which is like a bunch of other celebrities' personal data. Just a few years ago, an unauthorized photo of Khloe Kardashian was accidentally shared, leading to the famous family doing everything they could to scrub it from the internet. Here's the thing, the photo isn't scandalous, it isn't unflattering, in my opinion, she isn't doing anything offensive. It is literally just a photo of Khloe in a bikini by the pool. She's holding her phone in one hand and smiling for the camera, and that is literally it. That's the whole photo. However, there isn't any filter on the photo. Many photos posted by the sisters and, well, a lot of big celebrities, they use filters to smooth out the skin, smooth out the makeup, shape the body, whatever, right? People are used to seeing an airbrushed look to the family that getting an unfiltered iPhone photo shot was definitely a moment. However, they do occasionally post unfiltered photos, so why was this one a big deal? Well, they said the internet couldn't have it and started contacting people to take it down or risk legal action. So pretty soon, people started sharing it simply because they were told no. Then it became people wanting to see the photo that people were risking legal action from one of Hollywood's richest families for. Then people just being confused why she would want the picture to disappear considering she looks good. Eventually, fans got answers. The reason it had to go was simply because it was unauthorized. One of the many Kardashian or Jenner assistants posted the photo without, I guess, checking the right avenues. The official statement from Chief KKW Marketing Officer Tracy Romulus was, the color-edited photo was taken of Khloe during a private family gathering and posted to social media without permission by mistake by an assistant. Khloe looks beautiful, but it is within the right of the copyright owner to not want an image not intended to be published taken down. For a family of women that have had their every move picked apart, it's understandable that they would want to control exactly what gets out there about them. Of course, the picture is still out on the internet. Khloe ended up posting some photos herself shortly after this went viral. Right now, having a photo with Diddy is like a guilty verdict to the internet, and Kris Jenner doesn't just have one, she's got a whole collection, plus past interviews with him, even one where he admitted that he once had a crush on her. Yeah, so the Kardashian Jenners, it's no secret that to help maintain their status, they interact with other people at the same level of fame, and like it or not, Diddy was one of those people. He was at the top of the food chain when it came to hosting parties and having famous friends. Kris Jenner posted many selfies with the man over the years. It appears that she was quite close with him, and one can assume that she and her daughters received many invites to his parties. I mean, we know that they did because they have been photographed and videotaped at them many times. This has led to people wondering what the famous family knew and if they kept anything quiet. Khloe once spoke about her experience at a Diddy party in a 2014 episode of the reality show. She made claims that many of the attendees were unclothed, and then previously in the episode she had been talking about all the big names that she saw there, and now of course people are wondering if she was at just like a regular Diddy party or the type that he is now in jail for. But back to Kris Jenner, because there is an absolutely wild story circulating online right now regarding the matriarch. One woman that is claimed to be a Diddy victim has shared a troubling story involving not just the disgraced rapper, but also Kris Jenner and Jennifer Lopez. Adria English joined the Lionel B Show podcast to share a story from someone she knew that was allegedly a Diddy victim. She claims that her homegirl was harmed in a ritual to conjure up demons, that J-Lo was damaging her skin using glass, and that Kris Jenner watched. English claims that in order for the girl to escape, she had to pierce Kris's shoulder with the glass. English says that if you look back at past interviews, Kris says that she'd once been pierced. Different word, but hopefully you get it. Unfortunately, I have not been able to find anything that indicated that Kardashian has ever been involved in an incident like that. She doesn't appear to have a scar on either of her shoulders either, and she's worn a lot of clothes that's shown off her shoulders and collarbone. The interview has gathered about 710,000 views on YouTube, with a comment section overwhelmingly in favor of English. Again, I couldn't find anything to support her claims, but Diddy's trial is coming up very soon, so maybe we will get answers then. In an early season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, you might have seen Kim and Kourtney pretty upset over some photos nearly being leaked to the press. Well, fan speculation and facts go hand in hand. Kim K's first husband seemingly wasn't the nicest guy. There are court documents that accuse the man of being physically and mentally rough with the reality TV star. Of course, this was like before the show, so we never actually saw any of that on camera, but the description of the alleged events are hard to read. Anyways, they speculate that this ex-husband was threatening to release some photos of Kourtney, or like Kim and Kourtney, that had them in compromising positions on their own, and some people even claim with each other, which is a whole other can of worms, and is generally proven to be false or a salacious rumor. The photos that have been like confirmed to nearly have been leaked by the ex, they only show Kourtney. However, she isn't in a great position, and to make matters worse, the family claims that she wasn't 18 yet, so yeah, no wonder they didn't want this hitting the press. People speculate that Kim was involved in the photos young too, because she was very upset about the thought of them getting released. However, considering what we know about her first husband, the reaction does make sense. And then finally, Caitlyn Jenner did cause an accident that led to a fatality. Despite having such a serious outcome, people don't really talk about this a lot. It did happen while Caitlyn was like coming out, so people were focused on something very different. However, fans online speculate that the family has done things to minimize the media coverage of the incident. In the end, it's not difficult information to find if you're looking for it, and once you go searching, you will see that. Though Jenner didn't go to jail for the incident, she did have to pay about $800,000 to settle one of the lawsuits. It was found that Jenner was going under the speed limit and did hit the brakes, but it wasn't enough to stop the incident from happening. Honestly, it is a miracle that things didn't go worse. Jenner caused a 4-car pileup, one of which had a whole family inside, including young ones. While it is heartbreaking that not everyone made it out, the medical team was able to save most of that family with minimal injuries.
Kim Kardashian is now contemplating a court request to strip ex-husband Kanye West of custody of their kids after new drama has unfolded, and fans are over it all. Kim is reportedly considering changing her custody agreement with West after he released a song featuring their eldest child, daughter Northwest, without her approval. Physical custody is reportedly not an issue, as the rapper rarely sees his kids, and Kardashian still wants them to have, a good relationship with their father. However, it's a different story when it comes to decision making for their kids. The former couple's divorce agreement reportedly states that they must attend a private hearing with a judge in the event there's a conflict regarding their children. However, after this weekend's debacle, it has become very clear that the rapper refuses to abide by the rules of their agreement. Kardashian requested an emergency hearing with their lawyers, a mediator, and a judge after learning West was planning to drop a song featuring their eldest daughter North and disgraced rapper Sean Diddy Combs. Now, although Kanye skipped the meeting, he reportedly agreed not to release the track titled Lonely Roads Still Go to Sunshine. However, he went back on his word and dropped the song on X one day later, declaring that, men make the final decision. The rapper also shared a heated text exchange exchange between himself and Kardashian, who made it very clear she did not want their daughter involved with the jailed Bad Boys record mogul. Kanye seemed furious about Kardashian sending him a cease and desist letter and trademarking their daughter's name despite it allegedly being a decision they made together. He allegedly texted his ex-wife in the now since deleted upload, of course. The text said, "I'm never speaking with you again." However, Kardashian claimed they had agreed to trademark all of their kids' names when they were born so that no one else would take them. She replied saying, "I asked you at the time if I can trademark her name. You said yes. When she's 18, it goes to her. So stop. I sent paperwork over so she wouldn't be in the Diddy song to protect her." Kanye asked her to amend the legal papers or risk going to war. He also threatened her, adding, "And neither of us will recover from the public fallout. You're going to have to unalive me." So dramatic, I can't. Soon after, he went on a very lengthy ex-rant like usual, accusing the Kardashian mogul of restricting, his parenting abilities and comparing their current custody agreement to visitations in jail. Messy, problematic, and chaotic. Fans are done with this drama. It's above them now. The Kardashian family launched a debit card with ridiculously high fees. Back in 2010, the Kardashians launched the Kardashian card, a very short-lived prepaid debit card so that fans could live, a life of luxury similar to the family. It was issued by the University National Bank, which actually later changed their name to Sunrise Bank, and they are known to issue prepaid cards with insane fees though. So yearly fees, monthly fees, card purchase fees, card replacement fees, ATM withdrawal fees, even a fee to just check your balance at an ATM. Who would want this? Nobody. Unfortunately, well actually fortunately, because the card ended up having these insane fees, including a $100 per year membership fee, and for very obvious other reasons, the card did not do well, clearly. You don't say. Now, Forbes actually described it as one of the worst financial products ever introduced ever. The family seemed to have missed the memo that not everyone could afford those kinds of fees for a debit card, and the Connecticut Attorney General even accused the family of unfairly targeting financially unsophisticated young adults. It took less than like a month for the whole thing to get shut down, which would explain why it's likely you, me, everyone else has not heard of it till now. When Kendall denied allegations that her modeling career was handed to her in many interviews, it officially made people hate her and turn against the catwalker. There's no doubt that Kendall works hard as a model, but she raised some eyebrows when she shared conflicting statements about the origins of her modeling career. While Kendall said she did everything she was supposed to do to get her to her current position in the industry, there's no denying the fact that her family status played a very big role in propelling her to being, one of the most famous models in the world. In fact, elsewhere in an interview, Kendall explains that when she was 14, she presented a homemade modeling book to her mom, and then she did her, Kris Jenner momager thing and made it all just come to life. Jenner has, modeled for designers including Karl Lagerfeld, Fendi, Calvin Klein, Chanel, so many others. In 2018, Forbes actually named her the highest paid model in the world. Kylie Jenner said she was self-made despite coming from a really wealthy and famous family. In 2019, Kylie Jenner was named the world's youngest self-made billionaire by Forbes, but a lot of fans had an issue with that title. Not only did the financials end up being a little off, but many people thought self-made wasn't an accurate title for Kylie, who grew up with immense wealth and privilege. Fans shared that it probably wouldn't have been possible for Kylie to start her business on her own if she had not had the platform her family had provided. Kylie later responded to critics explaining that her parents, cut her off at a young age, so she had no financial assistance in starting her own business, blah, blah, blah. Kylie told Paper Magazine, my parents told me I needed to make my own money. It's time to learn how to save and spend your own money, stuff like that. What I'm trying to say is I did have a platform, but none of my money is inherited. Jenner has said that she credits her success to social media and her large following. Kinda true. She has said that she was able to advertise her products directly to her fans with little marketing expense. And just like her big sis Kendall, she has faced immense backlash for several reasons. Some honorable mentions include, lying about her net worth and exaggerating her role in building her cosmetic company. She's also been accused of cultural appropriation, just like her sisters, and of course she's faced a lot of criticism for promoting very unrealistic beauty standards and using Photoshop and editing tools on literally all of her photos and videos. Kim losing her diamond earring might have been in the first 5 moments fans started turning against the family. You know this one well, at least you should. Kim's then boyfriend Kris Humphries tossed her into the ocean, and her $75,000 earring was a casualty. The force of the throw caused a diamond earring, which was a part of a larger necklace, to actually come off and fall into the ocean. Kim had a significant emotional reaction to the loss, full-blown like breakdown, crying and expressing her distress over the missing earring. Kim and her sister Khloe frantically searched for the lost diamond, even joking about where it might be. The earring was never found, and the incident became a viral moment on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Kim Kardashian's Aaliyah Halloween costume had her fans turning against her immediately. The costume specifically recreated the look from Aaliyah's Try Again music video, which included a custom bra top and J brand leather pants. Now, many criticized Kim's costume, arguing it was insensitive and disrespectful to Aaliyah, who was a black singer and a cultural icon. Now, the social media mogul issued an apology after many Twitter users at the time called her Aaliyah Halloween costume offensive, right, in October of 2017. Kim actually wrote on her website saying Aaliyah was such an amazing singer and she will forever be a music legend. I saw online that some people thought my costume was in poor taste, and I am truly sorry if that offended anyone. We don't see color in my home. We were paying homage to people and artists we love and respect. It's that simple. Kim's designer debacle. Kimmy sparked, a lot of irritation from fans when she posted a now deleted video showcasing free goods she received from Dolce & Gabbana to her Instagram stories back in January of 2019. Followers were outraged by the post, with many pointing out that the controversial brand has come under fire multiple times over the years, most notably for a 2015 interview with Italian magazine Panorama, in which designing duo Stefano Gabbana and Domenico Dolce referred to IVF babies as chemical offsprings and synthetic children. That's wild. And to note off of that, Kim actually became pregnant with her second child, Saint, through IVF. So yeah. Dolce later apologized for, his inappropriate words, but the damage was done. Now, footage from when Kim told women in business they needed to get their bleeping behind up and work has completely turned her fans off, like permanently. It's 100% easier to be successful when you're a Kardashian, but that seemed to have slipped Kim's mind when she dished out some advice to working women. Despite the fact that Kim was born into a very wealthy, well-connected family, skyrocketed to fame thanks to TV and that tape we won't talk about, she explained that she thought the problem with people in business was that no one wanted to work. Kim told Variety, "Get your bleeping behind up and work. It seems like nobody wants to work these days. You have to surround yourself with people that want to work and have a good work environment where everyone loves what they do." And while that is true, yes, you do have to work hard to reap benefits. It's definitely not as simple as that for people who aren't born into wealth and fame. Kim faced backlash from viewers, called her out for ignoring her upbringing's role in her success, and how many people do work hard but aren't even financially compensated for it. Now, despite this footage being a couple years old now, it still is being talked about today. I'm talking about it right now. It's still messy and people are still mad.
We gotta get back to the Kardashians because they know more than they're telling. So there's one video showing Khloe Kardashian bragging about partying with Puff Daddy. This isn't an old episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I know, it's like 10 years old, but it's relevant, okay? So Khloe and Kourtney are hanging out. They're discussing this wild party with a lot of friends. Bieber was there, French Montana was there, and Puff Daddy. So later on in the episode, everybody's out bowling, and Girly Pop is like, well, I haven't been to bed yet. I got on a plane at like 5:30 a.m. And like she said the quote that we all know about what people were or weren't wearing at the party. And it's like, hey girl, want to elaborate why you got on a plane at 5:30 a.m.? Because we all know when the bad part of the party happened, and it was after 5 a.m. She said, well, I know you're known for the parties. When you think of a party or a good time, you think of Puff. And we've been known to party with you a few times. And then Kourtney was like, oh yeah, like you were just at Puffy's party. And she's like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. That was an epic night too. Like that night was fun because all the girls ditched me. So it was like me and the boys. It was me, Kanye, and we were just like hanging out and it was fun. I loved it. And then once again, Khloe turns to Puffy and is like, I don't know how you have all the energy, but that's who you are. And that's why people are so drawn to you because you're so eclectic. No matter what, no matter how much you work, you don't sleep, you don't do anything, but that's just you. And if you thought that's where the friendship ends, flash forward, I think 3 years later, 2019, Khloe is posting pictures of her family and Puff Daddy. December 16th, 2019. Everybody's hanging out. It's like, oh my gosh, yeah, like happy 50th birthday. So here's the thing. Normally when Khloe posts photos of her family on Insta, the comment section is usually flooded with well wishes. But fast forward to this year, September 24th, 2024, now that everything's coming to light, yeah, there's some suspicion and anger in the comments. Folks want to know, like, hey, Kardashian family, you've been hanging out with Puff Daddy for years at this point. We just went through the timeline. And like, what's going on? So even though this was a completely unrelated post, like Khloe's dropping off her family at school, and yes, there are a couple of nice little things, like there's a pop singer who was like, oh my gosh, best mama. Everybody else wants to know other stuff. They said, and I quote, so are we just glossing over the fact that she and the other Kardashians knew what went on at Puffy parties? The circus is trying to deflect from them parties they went to, and that one was in all caps, but like, I'm not yelling at you. You don't need that. So let's go through the family tree. Apparently Kim has unfollowed Puffy on Insta, but has not spoken publicly over the speculation. But going back to Khloe, once again, she's always said nothing like a Puffy party, and she hasn't said anything else. Now sure, nobody in the family has been linked to any of the allegations that Puffy is facing, but they have not spoken out following his arrest. They've been fawning over him for how many years now publicly? And like if we're going up to, let's see, the matriarch of the family, Kris Jenner, her partner Corey Gamble had ties to the rapper as well. So there's a theory. A theory is the family is dreading the prospect of testifying at the upcoming trial. Now this is according to some insiders who claim that the family is in panic mode because all these years they've been bragging about partying with Puffy, and of course everybody's wondering, were you involved in the freak-offs? And if you don't know what the freak-offs are, how can I word this without getting in trouble with the internet? Carefully organized events that involved very naughty activities, not always consensually, with a lot of people. Please get my hint. So according to sources, the Kardashians are all insisting they weren't involved in the twisted, awful things that went up after hours at these parties. Even though we know Khloe was at these parties until 5:30 a.m., which is when the twisted things would have been happening. Now, of course, we do have to mention Puffy had plenty of glamorous parties over the years that weren't these crazy things. But, and this is a quote here, at least not until the early morning hours. Well, I don't know, folks. Didn't I just say that Khloe Kardashian was at these parties until the early morning hours? So if you're wondering how Corey ties into all of it, he made a post in 2020 saying like, oh, I will always thank Puffy and Puffy's partner for all they did in my life. So a lot of folks think Corey must have had some knowledge of what was going on, which he totally denies. So obviously, going back to Kris, Momager Supreme PR expert, she's a little embarrassed. She's scrambling to distance the entire family from this and distract everybody. But obviously, it's kind of impossible. So let's talk more about these parties for a moment, folks. Let's go back, way back. 1999, where Puffy was talking about his white parties, and it's very interesting what he said about them. At the time, 1999 folks, they don't want me to party anymore, but we're not gonna stop. We will continue to have fun, to unite people from all walks of life. And he said, you will hear about my parties. Folks, this is almost 30 years ago. They're going to shut them down. Maybe they're going to arrest me. They're going to do all kinds of crazy things just because we want to have a good time. Whenever you bring a different element into people's environments, things that broaden people's horizons, people get intimidated. It's a lot of people out there that feel intimidated by it. Okay, well, I don't know, sir. We have different ideas on this. He also joked about his tactics for keeping women from ditching his get-togethers, and he did this on television, folks. This was on Late Night with Conan O'Brien in 2002. So Conan was like, hey, how do you throw a great party? Because by then, Puffy was already known for his parties. He said woman. Beautiful woman, of course. Beautiful men for the ladies, of course. You need some water. I don't know if guys have noticed this, but a lot of ladies drink water at the parties, so if you don't have what they need, they're gonna leave. And then he said something very interesting. Gotta keep them there. Need locks on the doors. Now, Conan O'Brien was like, that sounds kind of dangerous. Puffy tried to play it off. He's like, no, it's all in fun. Well, he didn't say that word. He said a word that starts with a K that I can't say. But like, nope, that does not sound like a great human rights situation. So sure, as all this continues to hit the light and it's all technically allegation and whodunits and maybes and allegedlys, it's probably gonna be a while before we get anything concrete, because if you went to a Puffy party or hung out with him, you had to sign an NDA. So apparently it's a pretty standard one, like you can't share information related to the disgraced music mogul himself, partners, family members, friends, business associates. You also couldn't photograph, film, or record anything without written consent. And even though that is pretty boilerplate, obviously we all wish we had footage right about now. You also, if you took anything, you can't share anything on social media without any explicit consent from the bad boy founder. Also, you can't give an interview, you can't write a book, you can't discuss anything. So obviously that's probably why we're not hearing about anything, but like, we would still like to know. The non-disclosure seems to cover anything that could get the rapper into trouble, and it does expire at one point. It's valid for, let's see, Puffy's life plus 20 years or 70 years, whichever is longer. Yes, it's boilerplate, but still, come on folks. You can break it, it'll make everybody's lives easier.
The Kardashians grew up on screen for all of us to see, and while there was drama on screen, apparently there was some behind the scenes as well. When the show first started in 2007, it said that the Kardashians, especially Kendall and Kylie, were very nice to the crew for the show. But as the years went on and they got more famous, they turned into monsters who had no respect for those who worked on the show. According to The Sun, the Kardashians repeatedly berated crew members and made unreasonable demands on anyone in their path. Additionally, the girls often try to direct what happens or demand multiple reshoots of simple moments on the show to place themselves in the best light they can at the expense of the rest of the family and crew, a source said. Now, this isn't a good look for them at all, and they should honestly be ashamed. Now, Kim Kardashian's marriage to Kris Humphries was something, let me tell you. Now, they dated for 6 months before they got married, and this might be due to all the money that they were making or were going to make. Kim was paid $1.5 million by People magazine for their wedding photos alone. They also got $300,000 for their engagement announcement, and then was given even more for both her bridal shower and honeymoon pictures. Not to mention, the pair got a bonus check from airing their wedding on Keeping Up. But things went downhill after that though, as just 72 days later, Kim filed for divorce from Kris. Yep, the marriage only lasted 72 days, which is honestly just embarrassing. Now, Kris was blindsided by this as he felt that they were truly in love, but he cited fraud as a reason for wanting an annulment. Now, Kim's paperwork stated irreconcilable differences for hers. Now, following their split, Kris's lawyer told a Los Angeles fraud court that Kim had no intentions of proceeding with this marriage. Jonathan Jackson, who worked with Kim between 2007 and 2009, said the pair's union was a publicity stunt. Speaking on Good Day LA back in 2011, Jackson said, 2 weeks prior to her wedding, she knew it was not something she wanted to do. Unfortunately, they were obligated to honor contracts with E!, the network which had TV rights, otherwise they would have owed a lot of people a lot of money. Now, this is so unfortunate, especially for Kris, as he was practically used. And then there's everything that happened with Lamar Odom and Khloe. Throughout 2013, countless stories circulated about Lamar cheating on his wife Khloe. Later on, Lamar admitted to struggling with addiction and infidelity from early on in his marriage to Khloe. There were too many strippers to count, he said in his memoir. Now, Khloe actually grew suspicious and hired a private investigator to track her husband. And while all this was going on, the couple put on a happy front on Keeping Up with the Kardashians and their own spin-off show, Khloe and Lamar. Now, in 2013, an insider claimed Khloe had not only photographic proof that Lamar cheated on her with at least 5 different women, but had copies of text messages between Lamar and the other women. She is a very smart woman and knew she had to get the proof because of the infidelity clause in their prenup, the source said. Though Khloe would later talk about Lamar's cheating on Keeping Up, she didn't do so until his cheating was widely publicized. And all of Lamar's issues were publicized by the Kardashians themselves. You see, not everyone in the family knew about the substance misuse and the cheating, but someone in the family was tired of it. It said that it wasn't until Rob Kardashian learned of Lamar's dark secrets that he helped push Lamar out. While it hasn't been validated, Lamar still claims to this day that it was the Kardashians who revealed his dark secrets to the press, which then drove a wedge between him and Khloe. Now, Lamar even said that Kris Jenner orchestrated an incident after their divorce to get more press surrounding their broken relationship. But of course, no one in this family would admit to all of that though. And then there's the fact that pretty much all the Jenners have gotten some sort of plastic surgery and have never admitted to it. In addition to that, some of them have even had their plastic surgery removed or reversed and lie and say they've been working out or have just been eating healthy. But I mean, we all know the truth. Now, a lot of people have pointed out that Kim has had liposuction and fat implants, but she has denied it. And then, after her daughter North was born, it was even more apparent that she got more work done, but once again, she denied it, but we seem to know the truth. There have been rumors since the beginning of time that Khloe Kardashian is not actually a Kardashian at all, and now we may have some proof. Numerous sources have reported that Kris Jenner told Robert Kardashian repeatedly that Khloe was not his daughter. According to RadarOnline.com, they also claim Kris paid her hairdresser, Alex Rowland, $30 million in a non-disclosure agreement to keep quiet about the situation, as some people claim that he's actually her father. Now, this makes sense because Kris Jenner is known for being a serial cheater, so it very well could be a possibility. Now, Kim Kardashian was investigated by the FBI after getting $250,000 in a trash bag. Yep, you heard that right. Now, according to a March 2023 Bloomberg Businessweek report, Kim was questioned by the feds as a part of an investigation and a mogul at the center of an embezzlement scandal. Now, in 2019, Kim told the FBI that she once played baccarat in a Las Vegas casino with Lowe and others when she ended up winning big. Now, Lowe allegedly told Kim to keep the chips she won, which were worth $350,000. Now, Kim told the FBI when she went to the casino counter to cash out, she was handed $250,000 in a trash bag full of 100 bills. Now, she put the trash bag full of cash in her carry-on bag and boarded a Southwest Airlines flight back to Los Angeles, the FBI agents wrote. Now, on a later trip to Vegas, Kim collected the remaining $100,000, again in a trash bag full of cash, which is honestly just weird. Now, Kim Kardashian has been accused of mistreating her workers by not paying them, which is messed up. In May 2021, Kim was sued by 7 workers accusing her of wage theft, retaliation, and more. The complaint alleged that cleaning and maintenance workers at her Santa Monica home weren't paid for all the hours they worked, didn't get overtime pay, weren't given required meal and rest breaks, and didn't get any pay stubs or documents related to employment. Kim has largely tried to deflect the blame by saying this was the fault of a company she hired to manage the workers. Now, the case, which was ongoing, has been pushed under the rug by the family, who never addressed the scandal themselves. And apparently, a lot of keeping up with the Kardashians was fake. Now, Kris Humphries spoke out about this after his short-lived marriage to Kim. He told a source, "Kris says that Kim's reality shows are a total sham. He doesn't think there's anything real about the shows at all." Now, the source also references one of the most quoted scenes of the show, in which Kim loses an earring after being thrown into the ocean by Kris during a family trip. Kim was crying hysterically, but then miraculously, one of the younger sisters found the earring in the ocean, where the group had been swimming. But they said that Kim didn't actually lose her earring, that the move was a publicity stunt to get views, the source said. Which, yeah, I do honestly believe this point. And finally, we have to address Kim's adult film that was released with her ex, Ray J. Now, in 2007, the tape was leaked online, and it's how Kim rose to fame. The talk of the tape was a prominent topic on the first season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and it made Ray J a villain. But Ray J has since come out and said that he had nothing to do with the tape being released, and that it was all up to Kim and her mother, Kris. He said, "I sat in the shadow for over 14 years, allowing the Kardashians to use my name, to abuse my name, making billions of dollars over a decade and a half, talking about a topic I've never really spoken about. I've never leaked anything. I've never leaked a tape in my life." Now, Ray J claims that Kim and Kris negotiated the release of the tape in the early 2000s. Kris apparently watched 3 different Ray J and Kim tapes and chose to leak the one that gave her daughter a better look, which honestly is just gross. Now, Ray J also claimed that that Kim has the videotapes in a box under her bed and that he's never been in possession of the tapes. Now, Kris Jenner has denied playing a role in the whole scandal, but Ray J says she's lying and that it was all her plan. Starting off, we have to talk about her infamous tape with her then boyfriend Ray J. Now, the tape was leaked in 2007 and it thrusted Kim into the spotlight, but for all the wrong reasons. Now, Kim sued Vivid Entertainment for ownership of the tape, and in late April 2007, Kim dropped the suit and settled for $5 million. Now, many people judged her for this, and in 2022 there were actually rumors that there was a second part of the tape that was going to get leaked. Now, it was said this leak was done by Ray J, but years later he's spoken out and claimed that the famous family story was a lie. He said, "I sat in the shadows for over 14 years, allowing the Kardashians to use my name, to abuse my name, make billions of dollars over a decade and a half, talking about a topic I've never really spoken about. I've never leaked anything. I've never leaked a tape in my life." Now, he claims that Kim and Kris negotiated the release of the tape in the early 2000s. Kris apparently watched 3 different Ray J and Kim tapes and chose to leak the one that gave her daughter a better look, which is honestly just so gross. Now, since then, Kris has denied being a part of the leak, but it really wouldn't surprise me if she actually was. Then there was the time in 2024 where she offended a lot of people with what she wore to a wedding. In July, Kim and her sister Khloe attended the lavish wedding of billionaire heir Anant Ambani and his fiancée in India. The sisters looked stunning at the traditional wedding, but for one of the events, Kim wore red, which is considered by some to break the Hindu wedding etiquette. Now, the color red is generally reserved for the bride, and it's often frowned upon for guests to wear red. It's practically like if you wore white to someone else's wedding in the Western world. It's a big no-no. Now, after sharing photos of her outfit on Instagram, Kim faced backlash from her followers who thought it was an inappropriate outfit choice and called out her lack of respect. Now, Kim chose not to respond to the comments, but fans were disappointed that she didn't research the culture beforehand to know what was acceptable. Controversy also arose when it was announced that Kim would appear on Variety's Actors on Actors. Now, Kim starred in 1 season of American Horror Story, which some fans didn't even like to begin with. Now, there was outrage, but Kim still did the interview, and she was partnered with Chloe Sevigny, who, like Kim, had also worked with Ryan Murphy. Although Chloe allegedly wasn't initially supposed to be Kim's interview partner, the interview itself went well. But viewers online were offended that Kim was being called an actor, though. Kim Kardashian's work on 1 season of American Horror Story does not put her on par with anyone on this list. She's nowhere near their level of talent and many accomplishments, one person said. "Kim Kardashian, can we be serious please?" While another chimed in, "Kim Kardashian is not an actor." Now, a few fans even accused the star of paying her way onto the series. Real actors exist, why did Kim K pay to be there? Then there's everything with Taylor Swift. Now, she and Kim have a bad relationship because of Kanye West. Now, we all know that Taylor Swift and Kanye West have a history, and when Kanye released his song Famous, in which he calls out Taylor Swift by name, I feel like me and Taylor might still have sex, why I made that be famous. Taylor Swift's reps shared a statement saying that Taylor was never made aware of the actual lyric "I made that be famous" in the song. Now, later, Kim graced the cover of GQ and paired it with an in-depth interview where she discussed how Taylor had approved the lyric per a recorded phone conversation between the two singers. Kim then posted a video of Taylor and Kanye on the phone discussing the songs, which proved that Taylor was lying. Now, the whole internet turned against Taylor, with Kim leading the hate train. But in 2020, the full phone call between Kanye and Taylor was leaked, proving Taylor was telling the truth and that Kim lied and edited the phone call conversation to make it look like Taylor was in the wrong. At the 2022 Met Gala, Kim Kardashian arrived in the iconic "Happy Birthday, Mr. President" Marilyn Monroe dress. She was granted special access to wear this as it is kept in a museum, but most of the general public didn't like this and thought that the dress should have been left alone. Besides that, Kim revealed that she had to lose 16 pounds in 3 weeks in order to fit into the gown. You see, the dress couldn't be altered to fit her, so she had to alter herself to fit into the dress. There was drama about how she lost her weight and whether it was healthy or not, but that got covered up though with another scandal, as it was claimed that Kim actually damaged and ripped the real Marilyn Monroe dress. Now, she denied it, but a Monroe collector is claiming that the dress has sustained permanent damage as a result. After Kim returned the dress, Scott Fortner shared photos of the dress taken that appear to show stretched and buckling fabric, along with missing crystals or ones left hanging by a thread, as it appears that Kim has damaged the dress, which is something that people were worried about, and it actually happened. Now, Kim had another scandal at the Met Gala too, where she wore a dress with a corset so tight her waist was pretty much invisible. I mean, it was so tight people were worried for the star, wondering how she could even breathe. People online were also angry though, because she was promoting yet again another unhealthy beauty standard. People were shocked by this and angered with the star. I'm not saying the media is to blame for young women's eating disorders, but Kim Kardashian crushing her organs to be thin on a red carpet sure doesn't effing help. Now, some celebrities also spoke out about this, like Jamila Jamil. She said, "The media has created a cycle of obsessing over Kim's body and teaching the public that this is the image to warrant attention and praise, and then they blame her for her impact on our beauty standards. She has no impact without attention. Who gives celebrities attention? The media and us," she said. Now, regardless, the look was crazy and Kim shouldn't be hurting herself like that, just all in the name for fashion. Now, Kim hasn't had the best luck when it comes to love, because she once had a marriage that lasted for only 72 days. Yeah, she was married to Kris Humphries, and they made a lot of money with their photos and filming the whole experience on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Now, when Kim ended things though, Kris was blindsided by this, as he felt that they were truly in love, and he cited fraud as a reason for wanting an annulment. Now, following their split, Kris's lawyer told the Los Angeles Fraud Court that Kim had no intentions of proceeding with this marriage, and if you look at the evidence, it seems to be true. Now, I honestly kind of feel bad for Kris and him going through all of that. Then there was the time Kim bought one of Princess Diana's necklaces at an auction. Kim snagged the diamond-encrusted amethyst Atala cross pendant famously worn by Princess Diana for $197,453 in 2023. Now, in November, Kim attended the 2024 LACMA Art Plus Film Gala, where she wore a dramatic white dress with a plunging neckline. Now, people called out Kim for wearing the necklace though, writing that it was weird that she would continue to wear pieces once owned by deceased celebrities, and they felt that she was trying to upstage Diana. Now, others called the move disrespectful. Some felt her wearing it with that dress was offensive to the religious symbol. Why are we still giving this woman precious heirlooms like Diana's necklace after she broke Marilyn's dress? Wrote one commenter on Instagram. And I mean, Kim has the money to do these things, but should she be allowed to do it? I don't think so. Now, Kim was also called out for doing blackface while promoting her beauty products. Now, afterwards, she told the New York Times, "I would obviously never want to offend anyone. I used an amazing photographer and a team of people. I was really tan when we shot the images, and it might be that the contrast was off. But I showed the image to many people, to many in the business. No one brought that to our attention, no one mentioned it." Now, it's said that Kourtney's relationship with Travis has led to a breakdown between her friends and even her family. I mean, we all saw how it played out with her sister Kim around the time of her wedding. Now, fans theorize that the two sisters, whose feud has been documented in the past few seasons of Hulu's The Kardashians, are fighting with each other over the Blink-182 drummer, who admitted to having a crush on Kim before dating and marrying Kourtney in his 2016 memoir, Can I Say? Now, Now, in his memoir, Travis wrote that he kept on secretly checking out Kim while he was dating Paris Hilton in 2006. Per the LA Times, he wrote, "I don't care if she's the closet girl, she's effing hot." Now, in a new interview with the Los Angeles Times, Travis once again denied ever having a physical relationship with Kim, a claim his ex-wife Shanna Mulliker disputes. "It's like Kourtney's fans are worried about Travis, he's a womanizer, stop it," he said. "I obviously shared all that stuff because I wanted to move past it. It was therapeutic for me." Now, he insisted that Kourtney's beef with Kim has nothing to do with his past flirtations. That's her sister, she knows we used to talk, nothing bad was going on. You give people a little information and they think they solve the mystery of this is why they're fighting. It's just so ridiculous. Now, during a 2021 Q&A session on her Instagram story, Kim denied rumors that she hooked up with Travis. "No, false narrative," she wrote at the time. "We've been friends for years and I'm so happy for him in court." So they both deny it, but who knows? Now, Kourtney and Kim's feud has been a central plot point in the Kardashians, with the sisters' heated rivalry intensifying as Kim directed Dolce & Gabbana's Milan Fashion Week show 4 months after Kourtney and Travis tied the knot in a wedding themed after the brand in Italy. Now, there were lots of similarities, so it appears that this ignited another feud. In a season 3 episode of the Kardashians, a teary-eyed Kourtney opened up to Kendall Jenner about feeling hurt by the collab in June 2023. "She sees everything that I had there and takes it for her own and doesn't even see it. She sees it for the dollar signs," Kourtney said. Now, later in the episode, Khloe informed Kim of Kourtney's reaction and was shocked. In a confessional, Kim said she couldn't have handled the situation in a more mindful way. "I said don't do the Madonna collection, don't do the lace collection, don't do anything that Kourtney wore to her wedding," Kim said, referring to her discussions about the show with the Dolce team. "She doesn't know that I have an email string begging them to push it a year." Now, Kim wasn't going to stand with what she thought was disrespect and decided to fight fire with fire and point out that Kourtney's Italian wedding had similar aspects to her own nuptials in 2014. During a confessional later in the season, Kim drew comparisons between her 2014 wedding to Kanye West. "I got married in Italy. Am I saying you copied me by getting married in Italy? Who performed at my wedding? Who performed at Kourtney's wedding? Andrea Bocelli," she said. "You stole my effing wedding country and my wedding performer. Andrea Bocelli is my favorite male singer of all time, but I am copying her Dolce Vita lifestyle." Now, digging the dagger deeper into her sister, Kim also said Kourtney doesn't have any friends besides her husband Travis. Now, Kim's dig came after Khloe said Kourtney told her all of her friends disapproved of Kim's decision to work with Dolce & Gabbana after her wedding. "She's saying every one of her friends, but she doesn't have any friends," Kim said during the conversation. So, Travis. Then, in one scene, Kim told Kourtney, "You hate me. Why do you hate me so much and why are you so angry with me? You have a serious vendetta." Now, she said this during the Kardashians' wedding special, Till Death Do Us Part, Kourtney and Travis. "You hate us, you're a different person, we all talk about it." Now, Kourtney clapped back with saying, "Because I don't need you guys anymore, I don't need to be a part of it." Now, it seems like since getting married, Kourtney has wanted to stay away from the spotlight. Now, Kourtney has also brought this up before, and it has also caused fights, as Kim claimed that she didn't care about the family as a whole or their careers. Now, this resulted in a full-on fist fight with Kim and Kourtney, and it was all documented for the show. It seems like Kourtney now wants privacy with the Barker family and doesn't want much to do with her blood family. I mean, she is a new mom again now, and it can be a lot, so I completely understand that. She wants to live a life of privacy and doesn't want to be on the reality show anymore, which again has caused rifts between her and Kim. Now, Travis and Kourtney started dating in 2021 and quickly bombarded fans with their very public relationship before tying the knot the following year. The pair documented their journey on the Kardashians with their attempts to have a child. Now, it worked and they welcomed their son Rocky in November 2023, 8 years after Kourtney called it quits for good with Scott Disick, with whom she has 3 children with. Now, Kourtney had a complicated relationship with Scott as they got together in 2006 and broke up multiple times. Now, Scott was known for cheating on Kourtney and he really struggled with his sobriety. Now, they officially called it quits in 2015, but Scott was was still around the family. Scott continued to be featured on the show as they navigated co-parenting, and the father of 3 remained close to Kourtney's family. But when the show rebranded to The Kardashians and jumped ship to Hulu in 2022, Kourtney's relationship with Travis was in full force, and Scott revealed that he was no longer as close to his ex, admitting it had been a huge adjustment losing her as a best friend. Now both Travis and Scott appeared on season 1, with Kourtney left furious that her ex feelings surrounding her engagement was a big storyline. Now Scott only made a cameo in season 2, and fans were mad. They wanted Scott back on the show, so it said he made a $2 million deal with Kris Jenner, and he returned for season 3 in May 2023. Now the momager made it clear on Instagram that Scott was going nowhere. "Scott will never be excommunicated from our family," she wrote. "He's the father of my grandchildren and a special part of our family. We love him, and this is not true." Now he was welcomed back with open arms by the entire family in season 3 and was no longer playing the part of the evil ex, but instead taking on the role of his true self, a devoted father who was an integral part of the Kardashian dynasty. But now that Kourtney is with Travis, it's made things difficult for Scott. Now obviously Kourtney's sisters want Scott around and will always call him a part of the family, but Kourtney seems to have different feelings. It appears that she doesn't want Scott around and that he makes her uncomfortable. A source has revealed that Scott's ongoing relationship with Kourtney's family irked Travis, who was left feeling threatened. Travis made it awkward for Scott to be around the family when he was there. His constant kissing and of Kourtney was his weapon, and he knew that it would keep Scott out of the picture, and it did at the time. Travis needed Scott to know that Kourtney was his now, and as a result, it caused Scott to distance himself from the Kardashians. But with Scott back now, the insider said Travis's game plan to get Scott out of the picture backfired. He knows that the Kardashian family's loyalty lies with Scott. Now Kourtney and Scott's kids are also very loyal to their father and will always side with Scott when it comes to Travis's issues with their dad. Fans have theorized that Kourtney evidently trying to move on in her life in a different direction than her family's is something that they're simply unable to grasp. They're so used to exploiting their business for fame, they can't even fathom one of their own trying to give that up, and instead insist on gaslighting them into thinking they're selfish, one person online wrote. Sources say that Kourtney started discarding everyone in her life when Travis came into the picture, and since then it has gotten progressively worse to the point she doesn't seem to care about associating with anyone from her old life. Kourtney barely talks to Kim and Khloe anymore, aside from when they're filming the show. She has pushed them away and deals with them as if they are her co-workers. Things are very fake and forced when filming the show. Now luckily for Kourtney, she has her own family with Travis, and focusing on them while keeping her distance from the Kardashians seems to bring her the most peace. In fact, in one episode, Kourtney told Kim that she was at her happiest when far away from the Kardashians. "I have a happy life, and that happiness comes when I get the F away from you guys," she said. Now in another, she said she's felt more empowered to put distance between herself and the Kardashians since marrying Travis and cementing their own family unit. But it's also been said that Kourtney has also allegedly cut out her lifelong friends, including Melissa Kolker, Ali Rizzo, Stephanie Shepard, Brittany Gastineau, Kourtney Semmel, and Poosh employee Sarah Howard. Kourtney and those girls were like sisters their whole life, another insider noted. Now she barely responds to texts or calls. She posts photos with them all the time on her social media. The source went on to say many of them are still close with Scott too, who they all care deeply for. Scott has always been great to her friends. Now they added, but none of Kourtney's old friends are really friends with Travis and have had hardly any contact with Kourtney since she got together with him. Yikes. Now hopefully they'll be able to make up in the future and move on with their lives, but it seems like there's been nothing but drama since Kourtney got together with Travis. Kim Kardashian is feuding with one of her sisters again. She's been called out by Khloe with her shady Instagram posts as the pair have been fighting on the new episode of The Kardashians. Now in the most recent episode of The Kardashians, the sisters clashed over Khloe's parenting, with Kim suggesting that Khloe's 2 kids rule her life. Now this came about after Khloe turned down a trip to Paris for Fashion Week because she wanted to be home with her kids. Now last week's episode also documented their family vacation to Aspen, which took place in January. On the trip, Kim called called out Khloe for FaceTiming her daughter during their group dinner. Now Kim again was annoyed with this. Kim said in a confessional, "Here we go again, she just is so stuck on what's going on at home that she can't have a good time," before later describing Khloe constantly FaceTiming her kids as annoying. Several viewers of the reality show have since called Kim out for shaming Khloe, and fans have actually done the math and figured out that Khloe was seemingly shading Kim on Instagram around the very same time that they were quietly clashing. Now back in January and February, around the same time as the Aspen trip, Khloe shared multiple quotes that are seemingly aimed at Kim. 20 years from now, the only people who'll remember if you worked late are your kids, one quote read. "Raise your children to be impressed by kindness, loyalty, and humility, not just wealth, possessions, and power," read another. Then in 2007, Kim and her then boyfriend, Ray J tape was leaked online, and it's how Kim rose to fame. Now, Kim sued Vivid Entertainment for ownership of the tape. In late April 2007, Kim dropped the suit and settled for $5 million. Now, the blame was put on Ray J for releasing the video, but after all these years, Ray J maintains his innocence. He said, "I've sat in the shadows for over 14 years, allowing the Kardashians to use my name, to abuse my name, make billions of dollars over a decade and a half, talking about a topic I've never really spoken about. I've never leaked anything. I've never leaked a tape in my life." Now, he claims that Kim and Kris negotiated the release of the tape in the early 2000s. Now, Kris apparently watched 3 different Ray J and Kim's and chose to leak the one that gave her daughter a better look. Now, if that's true, that is just gross. Now, Kris Jenner has denied playing a role in getting her daughter tape released and even took a lie detector test on the James Corden show, but Ray J is still adamant that they did help. Now, looking back, Ray J said he is embarrassed of the tape. Now, Kim's whole relationship with Kris Humphries was something else. They dated for 6 months before they got married. Now, Kris wasn't really into all the fame, but Kim wanted it all. Now, their relationship made them a lot of money. The reality star was paid $1.5 million by People for their wedding photos alone. They also got $30,000 for their engagement announcement and another massive chunk of cash from both her bridal shower and her honeymoon pictures. Not to mention the bonus check they got from airing their wedding on Keeping Up. Now, afterwards though, after 72 days, Kim filed for divorce. Now, Kris felt bamboozled and cited fraud as the reason for wanting an annulment. Kim's paperwork stated irreconcilable differences, and she later discussed the marriage on her show and revealed her mother encouraged her to run on her wedding day if she needed to. Now, following their split, Kris's lawyer told the Los Angeles fraud court that Kim had no intention of proceeding with this marriage. It was basically a tactic for the benefit of her show and to make money. But Jonathan Jackson, who worked with the reality star between 2007 and 2009, said that the pair's union was a publicity stunt. Speaking on Good Day LA back in 2011, Jackson said, 2 weeks prior to her wedding, she knew it was not something she wanted to do. Unfortunately, they were obligated to honor contracts with the E! Network, which had TV rights. Otherwise, they would have owed a lot of people a lot of money. Now, after their divorce and sketchy relationship, Kris exposed some of Kim's secrets. Back in 2013, Kris revealed that the proposal for the show was not a surprise and that Kim was aware of it, so the scene where she seemed moved and surprised in is super fake. In fact, Kris went further to say that they had to reshoot the proposal because Kim didn't like her reaction. Kim told Kris how, where, and when to propose. It was absolutely no surprise to her whatsoever, a source told Radar Online. First of all, Kris proposed in the middle of the day, and he had to do that because it would create better lighting to capture the moment. Now, Kim looked surprised but knew it was happening. She was in full hair and makeup, and she's always in on the show. But all of his ideas were shot down by production officials and Kim. Now, another person she got married to was Kanye West. They got married and had 4 children together, and they were happy until things started to go south in 2020. In July 2020, Kanye acknowledged the possibility of Kim ending their marriage, and later that month, he wrote on Twitter that he had been attempting to divorce Kim. Now, he also wrote that the Kardashian family was attempting to lock him up. In January 2021, CNN reported that the couple were discussing divorce, and a month later, Kim filed for divorce, agreeing to joint custody of their children, and declining spousal support from each other. The divorce settlement was finalized in November 2022, and after they divorced, Kim dated Pete Davidson, which Kanye did not like, and he took a lot of digs at Pete and Kim. He posted online about it saying, "You are lying and are liars. Y'all basically kidnapped Chicago on her birthday so she couldn't remember her father not being there, so there. Also, I should see my children 100% of the time, but since there's a separation, it should have been 50% of the time. Y'all wouldn't have played with Donda like that in Jesus' name." Now, the Kardashians, for their part, have repeatedly denied Kanye's claims about Chicago's birthday, and after this rant, Khloe commented on Kanye's posts, begging him to please stop tearing Kimberly down, adding that she and her family have had enough of the false birthday narrative. Now, at the 2022 Met Gala, Kim arrived in the iconic Happy Birthday Mr. President Marilyn Monroe dress. Now, Kim said the idea of wearing the late actress's dress felt like the perfect representation of America. She was granted special access to wear it as it is kept in a museum, and people did not like this. They thought it was unfair and in poor taste to take the dress of an icon and have Kim wear it. Now, besides that, Kim revealed that she had to lose 16 pounds in 3 weeks in order to fit into the gown. She said, "It was such a challenge, it was like a role, I was determined to fit in it. I'd wear a sauna suit twice a day, run on the treadmill, completely cut out all sugar and all carbs, and just eat the cleanest veggies and protein. I didn't starve myself, but I was so strict." Following this, many slammed Kim for appearing to promote a toxic and dangerous mindset about body image and weight loss. She said, "To me, it was like, okay, Christian Bale can do it for a movie role and that is acceptable. It's all the same to me. I wasn't saying, hey everyone, why don't you go lose this weight in a short period of time." Now, her losing all that weight in a short period of time, though, really rubbed people the wrong way. And finally, we have Kim's short-lived feud with Chloe Grace Moretz. In July 2016, when Kim had her own celebrity feud going on with Taylor Swift, she posted her supposed proof on Snapchat of Taylor lying, and fans went crazy. This annoyed Chloe Grace Moretz, though, who tweeted, "Everyone in the industry needs to get their heads out of a hole and look around and realize what's actually happening in the real world. Stop wasting your voice on something so petulant and unimportant." Minutes later, jumping to her big sister's defense, Khloe Kardashian responded with a collage of pictures. Now, the first picture was of Chloe Grace at the beach, and the next photo was a photo of an unknown blonde-haired woman who she presumably thought was Chloe in the sea, suffering an embarrassing and revealing bikini mishap. Now, Khloe Kardashian captioned the image, "Is this the hole you're referring to?" at Chloe G. Moretz, and Chloe straight away tweeted back, "Fact check, first photo is me filming my movie Neighbors 2, the second photo is some girl who was wrongly photographed." But this feud didn't end there, though. In 2016, Kim turned heads for sharing a full frontal nude selfie with only black bars to protect her modesty on Twitter. She captioned the photo with, "When you're like, I have nothing to wear, LOL." Then, out of nowhere, Chloe responded to the picture by commenting, "I truly hope you realize how important setting goals are for young women, teaching them we have so much more to offer than just our bodies." Now, Kim didn't take this lying down and replied back, "Let's all welcome at Chloe G. Moretz to Twitter since no one knows who she is. Your nylon cover is cute, boo."